Let's all come to our comfortable seated positions and close the eyes and take in full, deep breaths here, softening through the body from head to toe, sinking into the support of the surface you're seated on, and just breathing in an easeful way, just letting the natural rhythm of your breath guide you deeper into this place of inward reflection. And today we'll move through a well-rounded practice, so we'll have a little bit of everything. And I'll speak about something called the Prana Vayus, which are the winds of prana. So throughout your practice, I am sure you have heard the word prana mentioned, as prana is the energy that rides the breath. Same thing as chi or ki, just this energy that makes us, well, what keeps us animated and what allows us to move through life, create, explore, and just be. But there's different directions that this prana travels. So we'll speak about that as we move through the practice. But before we begin, just notice the inhale and the exhale right now. So the inhale is the prana, the inward action of prana. And the exhale is called apana. And apana is the downward and outward action. So you can think of it as the cleansing or the releasing part of the breath. So the more efficiently we breathe, the deeper the breath, the more easeful the breath, the more we release the toxins, the physical ones, the emotional ones, the energetic ones throughout that breath. So just see if you can be mindful of elongating the inhale and the exhale, and we'll speak about what happens in between that inhale and exhale. Let's draw the palms to touch with the thumbs resting against the heart center as you bow the chin toward the throat. Take this opportunity to set an intention for today's class. And then very gently blink open the eyes, taking in the mat, the floor, and then gradually the whole room as the head floats up. Now big breath in, hands down, around and up. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, arms back up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Moving from mid-body, wring out the spine. Inhale, back center, big breath. And as you exhale, release, let go completely. Inhale one more time here. Exhale, twist to the right. And then we'll come on back to center, both hands on the thighs. Let's lean forward and make big circles with the waist. So we come forward to the side, to the back. This big circles. It's getting into the waist here. And then reverse those circles. Still moving from the waist, but just moving in a way that feels good for you. Maybe the shoulders get involved. Maybe they don't. Just loosening up the body. And then we come back to neutral. Switch the crossing of your legs and extend the arms forward. Surrender here. Forearms to the floor, maybe forehead to the floor. Chin to throat. Either way, just draw into yourself and just be here. One more breath here. And then walk the hands in towards your body. And we'll come right over, rolling over the legs, two hands and knees, or legs off to one side. And we find our neutral cat position. Now, right from here, let's sit back onto the heels. Walk the hands forward, let the forearms come down, let the forehead come down toward the floor, touching the floor. If the seat pops up, that's okay. Head to the floor, more important. So if you have your head and your seat down, that's good too. So wherever you are able to go, I always say that I keep my head up so that the microphone picks up my voice, so I don't want to bring my head down. But you please let everything go. So just Draw inward and allow the back body to expand, the side body to expand. Breathe into it, find space, and really notice how much is going on with each breath. You're breathing in energy. You're taking in that energy. Be with it. Be with the sensation of that energy. And then take your time, lift your gaze, lift your chest. Maybe walk the hands forward if you need to. Spread the fingers nice and wide as you press into pads of fingers and knuckles. Lift the seat, tuck the toes, and come to down dog. You might find that's a little too short for you, so you may need to step the feet back. You can float to plank for a moment to measure. Sometimes a child's pose doesn't really measure as well as, most times a child doesn't measure as well as plank. Measuring with plank is the foolproof way to make sure you're in the right length for your downward facing dog. And then once here, you can bicycle out the legs or lift up on the toes and press the heels down. But keep this in mind that we don't want to jam our heels down. It's really not important. We just want to move the feet so we can let the toes open up a little bit and the ankles. But the idea is to create space and lengthen the spine. So if you need to bend your knees to send your seat back a little bit more to really get long in the spine, you would then want to press into the pads of the fingers in opposition so you don't take the weight into the heel of the hand and into the wrist ultimately. And then from there, you can work to straighten your legs if appropriate for you. And then we lift our tailbone to place where ceiling and wall meet and soften your sit bones down toward your heels. That's what makes the heels drop, that opposition. We don't want to lift our seat to the sky. That's going to create strain in the hamstrings. So just be here for one more breath. Notice your breath. Be with it. Notice the strength of your body, and does your breath change as you hold this posture? Take a little walk to the front of your mat. Hands and feet come to touch. Once there, fingertips to floor or hands to shins, prepare pose. Exhale and fold forward. Heel toe the feet apart, about outer hip width apart. Hold each elbow. Let the spine just descend. Let the head move down toward the floor. And sway your torso side to side. So a lot of fluidity here. And as we do this, maybe you start to notice prana, so that vital life energy feels to us as a vibration, as warmth sometimes. So if you become very aware of the prana moving through you, you can start to notice it and know when it's depleted and know when you need to just pause, breathe a few deep breaths and bring some more in. It's always there, but we have it in varying degrees. Release the elbows, heel toe the feet together. So back to your Tadasana. So still a little space between the feet, of course. Fingertips to the floor, hands to shins, prepare pose. Exhale, fold forward again. Navel in and up, arms come around and up, palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands down, around and up. Exhale, dive it out, Uttanasana, forward bend. Inhale, fingertips to floor or hands to shins, prepare pose. Exhale, right foot steps straight back behind you. Release the knee to the mat and slide the knee back just a little bit, top of the foot flat. Inhale, the arms up overhead. You're in supported lunge. Now, if you'd like to have a deeper hip opener here, feel free to heel toe the left foot forward, pressing through the left shin as you bring the arms up overhead. Now, then when you may notice you're getting a deeper stretch in the right hip, and that's good. You want that. So sink into a little bit more. And as you sink, notice if your hips are tilting forward. Can you keep the tailbone long to the floor and then lift, stack the shoulders over the hips, lifting right through the spine, through the crown of your head. When the bones are stacked, you'll feel more prana moving through you. So the alignment helps us to feel that movement as well. Exhale the hands to frame the front foot. Tuck back toes, lift back knee. Commit to the hands as you step it back, downward facing dog. Breathe for a moment here. Easeful breath in and easeful breath out. From all fours or downward facing dog, extend the right leg straight back. So this can be modified by coming onto all fours and then you lift the right leg. Lift it as high as you can. Now press through the heel and the ball mountain and let the hips draw back. Press into pads of fingers in opposition though. Get really long through the spine. And then as you exhale, draw the knee towards your belly. Float forward to plank pose. Lift the knee higher towards your belly as you shine heart center toward the front of the room. And then as you exhale, place right foot between the hands. You may have to give it a little help. Not always easy to do it that way. And release the left knee. Top of the foot flat or toes can stay tucked. Slide the left knee back if you want a little more opening. Heel toe right foot forward. Press through right shin. Inhale the arms up overhead. And again, you're in that supported lunge. Very nice. The more you can stack, as I said, shoulders over hips, the more length through the spine, the more you'll notice the prana flowing through you. And then from here, we'll exhale the hands to frame the front foot. Tuck back toes, lift back knee. This time, back foot meets front foot. Fingertips to floor, hands to shins, prepare. Exhale, fold. Inhale, the arms come around and up, palms to touch. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, hands down, around and up. Exhale, dive it out. Inhale, fingertips to floor, hands to shins, prepare. Exhale, left foot step straight back behind you. This time we'll keep the back knee lifted. Unless, of course, you'd like to release it. You can, if you'd like. Navel in and up. Arms come straight up or pit stop on the right thigh for support. And now we're in high lunge. Now, the more you press through that back heel, the more you press through the front shin, the more stability you'll have in the legs, so the more length you can find. And that length is going to help you move the prana up and down your spine. If you think about Sushumna Nadi is the major energy channel that runs up and down your spine. And prana moves through it. So if you keep everything stacked, you'll feel that perhaps. Breathe into it. Allow. Exhale, hands frame your front foot. Commit to the left hand or use a block. Inhale, lengthen center chest away from navel. Exhale, right hand reaches toward the ceiling. Don't forget to press through the left heel. Find opposition and power in that back leg. It helps you to twist a little bit deeper when your legs are steady. And there's strength there. Release the right hand and step it back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Feel free to come to child's pose instead if you'd like. Breathe for a moment in child's pose or down dog. Find an easeful quality to your breath. Are you still noticing that inward action of prana, the outward action of apana? Let's lift the left leg either from down dog or all fours. Lift it as high as you can. Keep pressing the chest toward the back of the room. And then exhale, left knee to the belly. Float forward to plank. Lift it higher if you can. And then exhale, left foot between the hands. Press through right heel. Press through left shin. Inhale, arms straight up. High lunge, Alana. So very basic here, supported lunge, high lunge. But if you move mindfully, stacking all the bones and you really focus on the breath, you'll create a lot of heat, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Samana, the heating, the fire breath, actually the fire energy. Exhale, hands frame the front foot. Commit to the right hand on the fingertips or on the floor or on a block. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, left hand reaches toward the ceiling. We find that twist. When you twist, you are activating Manipura, the third chakra, which is going to help you with that fire element of samana, the digestive breath. Releasing the left hand to the floor. Back foot meets front foot. Fingertips to floor, hands to shins, prepare. Exhale, fold, let the head go. Inhale, arms come around and up, palms to touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands down, around and up, one Surya Namaskar A. Exhale, dive it out, Uttanasana. Inhale, fingertips to floor, hands to shins, prepare. Exhale, hands to the floor, step it back to plank pose. You may lower chaturanga coming through up dog here, or you can release the knees, lower to the belly, chest and belly at the same time, touch the floor. Inhale, baby cobra, find length. And then exhale it back either to the knees or straight back, rolling over the toes to downward facing dog. Full deep breath here. So the fire element, samana. Samana is the breath that digests all the things that come in. So when you're breathing in, not only do you breathe in prana, but you breathe in everything that happens, every circumstance that happens. All the emotions that live within us are part of that as well. So all of the beauty of life and all of the pain of life we take in through prana. And samana is what digests it all and helps us to release what doesn't serve well. Next, inhale, look forward. Exhale, step or lightly hop. We'll let the feet just walk up there, whatever you prefer. Prepare pose, fingertips to floor, hands to shins. Exhale, fold it forward. Navel in and up, arms come around and up, palms touch overhead, and exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands down, around and up, moving on. Exhale and dive it out. Inhale, fingertips to floor, hands to shins, prepare. Exhale, plant the hands, step it straight back, plank, skip it, down dog or child's pose, or full vinyasa, or modified vinyasa. Inhale to your back bend, cobra, up dog, whatever you prefer. And then exhale it back, downward facing dog. Next, inhale, let's extend that right leg straight back again, lifting it nice and high. And then exhale, draw the knee toward the belly, same thing as before, float it forward to plank, stoking that fire. And then exhale, right foot between your hands. Pivot and plant back foot, pinky toe parallel to the back of the mat, and reverse cartwheel the arms into warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Very nice. And we breathe here. Full, deep breaths. Steady, grounded, lifting through the spine. In a warrior two, it's a very steady stance, so maybe you can feel that gentle pulsation of prana. Maybe not, but see if you can feel it beneath the surface, moving through you. A big breath in, left hand down the back, leg right palm toward the wall behind you. Find the lift, find the openness, find the ease. And then back to warrior two. One more time, upward warrior. This time straighten the front leg, tailbone to floor, sternum, center chest away from navel. Find the lift, not the leaning back. Remember, it's not a big back bend, but a heart opener. Beautiful, you guys look good. Inhale, back, neutral. Reach forward with the right fingertips, hand to shin or thigh. Left them up toward the ceiling. It's Trikonasana, triangle pose. Beautiful. Breathe. So we find the extension. Make sure though that you're pressing into that triangle of your foot, the big toe mound, the heel, big toe mound, pinky toe mound, and heel. And as you press down, make sure that you're not locking out your knee. You want to activate the quadriceps and the hamstring at the same time of that front leg that will support your knee. And then right from there, hands will frame front foot, pivot on the back foot. Coming back to that lunge. Now keep pressing through the heel and press through the front shin. Lift the arms. They're parallel to the floor, equal with your ears. Soaring lunge, a little core work there. Feel that power. Sweep the arms back behind you and keep lengthening through your chest. Sweep the arms forward once again and lift it up. We're back to that high lunge. Exhale, soar it forward. Hands to the floor. Let's come to that twist again. Reach and open, twisting towards your right leg. Release the hand to the floor, step it back to plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale through to your back bend. And exhale it back, downward facing dog. Notice how you're feeling. Do you feel that fire burning yet? Next, inhale, look forward. Exhale, Left foot between the hands. Oh, don't do that. Come back to down dog. Lift the left leg straight back behind you. Find that power, that lift, that openness. Exhale, left knee toward the belly, float it forward to plank. Keep that lift, lengthen. And then exhale, left foot between the hands. Pivot and plant back foot, pinky toe parallel to the back of the mat. And reverse cartwheel the arms into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So in order to really feel that movement of prana, there's something called the Vyana, the circulating breath. So do you feel that circulating, that movement of energy flowing through you? You might feel that as we're flowing a little bit. Sometimes it's very obvious, that flowing, that movement of energy. Sometimes not so much. Just draw in and see if you're aware. Big breath in, release the right hand down the back, like left palm toward the wall behind you. Find your upward warrior. Keep pressing through the left shin and grounding into the pinky toe side of the back foot. Inhale back to warrior 2. One more time. Inhale, upward warrior. Straighten the front leg. Lift a little higher. Find more space, not more back bend, just more space. And we come on back. Neutral, shoulders over the hips. Keep the front leg straight as you reach forward with the left fingertips. Hand to shin or thigh. Right arm up toward the ceiling. Keep that length. Tailbone toward back heel. Side body nice and long for Trikonasana. Good. And then from there, release the hands to frame the front foot. Pivot on the back foot. You're in that low lunge. Set it up. Press through back heel. Press through front shin. And then we lift into that soaring lunge. And feel that power. Sweep the arms back behind you. Stay low. Stay powerful. Bring the arms forward. Lift it up. High lunge. Exhale, hands frame front foot. Commit to the right hand. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, left hand reaches toward the ceiling. Find the twist. Navel's twisting toward the left inner thigh. Release the hands to frame the front foot. Step it back to plank. Your choice. Vinyasa once again. Or take a moment to just be. Breathe in your child's pose or hold your down dog. And just be. Once again, just find your center. So as I said, there's this circulating breath. So you breathe in prana. Vyana circulates it around. Samana burns away what does not serve. Apana releases it. So another step there, which we'll get to in a moment. But for now, just see if you can feel that circulating, moving energy. The fire element that transmutes, that transforms. That's where our transformation resides. Next, inhale, look forward. Exhale, right foot between your hands. Once again, release the back knee. Both hands to the big toe side of the foot. Let's slide the left knee back behind you, top of the foot flat. Now maybe we'll be moving into lizard pose here. So maybe your inner thigh of the right leg stays against your body. Maybe your hips are very tight and that can't happen. So you have to heel toe the foot out, maybe even turn the toes toward the right front corner. You want to be sure that the knee is stacking over the ankle and tracking over the second and third toe. And then from there, you can either get your block, if you need blocks. Or maybe your forearms can come to the floor. So if they come to the blocks, just be sure, or wherever they come actually, the floor of the blocks, just be sure that you sink into the back hip rather than leaning into the upper body. So you sink into the back hip, you lengthen through the center of your chest, and you breathe there. As you soften. So hip opening is a great place to really feel the groundedness, the earth. So the releasing breath of apana is associated with earth, with the earth element. So see if you can really go deep here. Go into the hips and bring out whatever is not needed. Free yourself from that. Whatever brings you heavy energy, whatever keeps you stagnant. We want to flow and be free and feel our power. So soften and then release. And then we'll walk our hands back toward our body. And if you have blocks, you can still use your blocks. What I'd like you to do, though, even if you don't have them, this is still attainable. You just can heel toe your foot over a bit, keep it extended, and then come up high on the heel of your foot. And hands can be on the floor, or they can be on your blocks. You want to make sure, though, that your hips are even. So sometimes the right hip comes, the left hip comes too far forward, sometimes the left. So just even out your hips, just move, wiggle around a little bit and see what happens here. Can you get things nice and even? And then maybe you walk the hands forward. If you have blocks, you can use your blocks. And then start to fold over that leg. Let your head go. Make sure you're not locking out of the knee, though. If you have knees that like to hyperextend, then press your shin up toward the ceiling a little bit. Put a little bend in your knee, a little micro bend. You're not bending the knee. You do want to be in the hamstring. You just don't want to be hyperextended in the knee. And you'll know that you're doing that if you feel something in your knee. If you're folding forward and you feel a sensation in your knee, that means you're locking it out. So even if you don't think you are, that's how you can tell for sure you are. So bend your knee a little bit. Soften here, get into that hamstring. And again, not into the joint, into the hamstring, the belly of the muscle. Feel the stretch there. One more breath here. And then we'll slide the right foot back, help it back, or just any way you get there. It's hard to get it there. I have a jade mat, which is really sticky, so it's hard to get your foot back once it's forward. And then right from here, you can either step right back to plank, down dog, or come on down to child's pose. So vinyasas are always available. Lowering plank, chaturanga, up dog, or lowering to your belly, coming to cobra. Whatever you prefer is fine. Just be sure that you do what you need. And that's what the beauty of the online. I know that the community is a great thing in the studio, but the great thing about Zoom and being in your own space is that it really is your practice. So embrace that. Allow it to be whatever you need it to be. Now, next, inhale, look forward. Exhale, left foot between the hands. Release the back knee. Both hands do the big toe side of the left foot. Slide the right leg back behind you a bit. Notice if the left inner thigh likes to stay parallel to your body, and if it doesn't, once again, heel toe it out and turn the toes. And then once again, forearms to the floor. You keep your hands on the floor and your arms straight. That's okay. Either way, you just don't want to put the weight forward. So either way, sink into the back hip. In this case, the right hip. Forearms come down onto the floor or your blocks where arms stay straight. Either way, sink into the back hip and lengthen the center of your chest away from your navel. Get a lot of length there, a lot of space. And we breathe here. So hopefully you're feeling that heat now. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit of movement. So how this was so far, what's happening is it's the idea of inhaling, taking in. That energy circulating around you. The fire element, burning away what does not serve you, and also just kind of getting the nutrients out of there, and whatever the waste comes out through the breath, the exhale, and all the good stuff moves up through something called udana, upward action. The energy that goes straight up to raise our consciousness. So all that is happening in between the inhale and the exhale. So a very effective inhale and exhale allows for all this to take place. Breathe full. Go deep within and release out what does not serve. One more big breath. Soft, soft breath out. Take your time. Once again, child's pose, down dog. vinyasa, whatever you'd like. Just know that this practice is whatever you need it to be, whatever you want it to be at any time. It can be a very active practice. You take extra vinyasa, or you take every vinyasa. A more passive practice, take the modifications. But either way, be aware of the prana moving through you. It's always moving through you. And then float yourself forward to plank pose, or come to plank if you're in child's pose. And then lower down onto your belly. Once on your belly, let's stack the hands one on top of the other and let your forehead rest for a moment. You can sway the hips side to side, or even just windshield wiper the legs just to get a little rest, or just be. And then right from there, I'll give you some options here. So the arm position can be your choice. We'll be coming into Shalabhasana locust pose. So traditional is just hands by the side. Palms facing down will help your shoulders stay nice and open. I am not a fan of the palms coming up. All it does is make your shoulders dip down into an external rotation. Makes it really hard for you to breathe and get your shoulders on your back. So it's a pointless thing. It doesn't really make it harder. It just makes it impossible to do. So palms down is one option. Other is interlacing the hands behind your back. Other is bringing the hands forward. And here you can have the palms facing each other or palms flat down. It doesn't matter, whatever you like. So arms forward is I think the most challenging. So just be mindful of which one you choose. So either way, wherever you're at, let's lengthen the center of the chest toward the front of the room. Your gaze is about 2 to 3 inches beyond your mat. So you're not looking forward. You're not jamming into your neck. There's space between the back of your neck and your throat, nice and equal. So once you lengthen the sternum away from your navel, then lift it towards your chin. Maybe lift it to a place where ceiling and wall meet. If that happens, if you're really tight, you might just go to the place towards your chin. This is a hard one. It's just in the mid and upper spine. If you're doing it right, the glutes are soft. There's no tension in the glutes, no contracting. Just lift your chest and then maybe lift the legs. Now, if you're lifting legs, you might feel your glutes get really tight. So see if you can drop it down to the bottom of your glute. Even if that means it's a smaller back bend, that's okay. Lengthen through your toes, lengthen through your chest, lift a little higher, lift the legs, breathe. And then release everything down. Turn your head to one side. Shimmy the hips back and forth. Windshield wiper the legs again if you'd like. Turn your head the other way. Then we'll place the hands on the floor, fingertips even with the chest line. And your choice, you can either tuck the toes and press straight up through plank and then to down dog, or you can take vinyasa, or you just press yourself up, hands and knees, and we'll all meet in 12 points. So if you've taken vinyasa, please feel free to do so. And then come down onto hands and knees, take your knees as wide as the mat, crisscross your big toes, seat toward heels, arms extend, and forehead to mat. This is a relaxing pose, so it's meant for you to just soften, to just let go here. So back bending, very fiery, a lot of active energy. So you may have stoked that fire. You may feel a little bit more energy moving through you, and that's okay. That's good. Utilize it. Breathe out through it. Breathe it through. So as we start to move into the more introspective aspect of the practice, the quieter, the deeper stretches, this is where all the heat that you've created is so beneficial. As you draw in, it allows you to release what doesn't serve and start to integrate all the good stuff that Udana wants to move up into your consciousness. So we breathe and we soften here. If anybody would like to take one final vinyasa, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can just stay right here in your 12 point. Then we'll all meet in down dog. So take another full breath in here if you're still in your child's pose, your 12 point. And then we'll all meet, when you are ready, we'll all meet in downward facing dog. And then we can just move the legs around, move the hips around. So we're coming into pigeon pose from down dog. If this is not appropriate for you, you can come to all fours and you can still bring the leg forward, but I'll show you that as well. So those of you who are coming from here, lift the leg up toward the ceiling and you point the toe, open the hip and bend the knee. I'll hold there. If you're coming into it modified, you come onto all fours. Those of you with the knee bent, bring the square off the hip, draw the knee to the abdominals, and then place the right knee behind the right wrist. Those of you, if you're on all fours, you bring the foot forward, you heel toe the right foot over, help it over, and as you release the knee, you release the sit bone too, just to check it out and make sure that you're okay. If you're tight, you want to drop that sit bone down. Those of you who are in pigeon, keep the back leg extended. I'll show that in a moment. So if you're modifying it, you're here. All right, you stay here with the seat down. Full expression, that seat is lifted. The right shin is parallel to the front of the mat as you can make it. Most likely it's on a little bit of an angle. And you want to make sure that your back leg, the left leg, is hip, knee, ankle alignment, and then the forearms come down. So be mindful that if you're in pigeon and you feel anything in your knee, you want to drop onto that right hip and bend the back knee. That's how you'll modify it. So you really want to be mindful of that, because if the hip is tight, the knee will be the one to be compromised. It'll just transfer right to the knee. So just be mindful that you're feeling this in the hip, in the big muscles of the hip area and glute area, not in the delicate little joint area of the knee. Now, again, here is the introspective place, the place where you breathe in and breathe out and allow all of this work to benefit you. You allow it to happen. So as you're breathing in and out, I'd like you to pay attention to the duration of your inhale and exhale. Make it nice and long, because the longer the inhale and the longer the exhale, the more time you give the Prana Vayus to work. So you take in a nice big breath. Prana comes rushing in. Vyana circulates it around, all the stuff that's in there, all the things that have come in through sensory, everything in the world that makes you happy, sad, angry, disappointed. It all comes in. Vyana circulates it through your body. Samana kind of divides it up and burns away what doesn't serve and takes out the nutrients of the good stuff. And then Udana takes all the good stuff and raises your consciousness, while Apana releases what Samana was able to burn away. So out comes all the toxins and what does not serve, and then up comes all the good, your physical practice, if you have a meditation practice, anything that you do that's positive for you, reading nice books and maybe having great conversations with family and friends, things like that. And then the flip side of that too, we absorb in. Take another full breath here. Those of you who are modifying, you can just come onto the hip and you can find your way back to child's pose or down dog. If you are in the full expression of pigeon, walk your hands in towards your body. Tuck the left toes into the mat. And you can then just come right to your downward facing dog. Maybe you need to lift that right leg and move it around a little bit. Maybe not. See how it feels. Maybe just bicing up the legs is enough. And then again, if you're coming from all fours, you'll bring the left foot forward and just drop onto the left hip and get that knee behind the left wrist. Otherwise, extend the left leg straight back behind you. Point the toe, open the hip, bend the knee, square off the hips, draw the knee toward the abdominals, and place left knee behind left wrist. Remember, you're modifying, drop onto the left hip. Otherwise, you look back at the right leg, hip, knee, ankle alignment, slide it back behind you, and then place the forearms onto the floor. If that's appropriate, Allow the chin to move toward the throat. And just take some breaths here, noticing the Prana Vayus, releasing what does not serve you, drawing in and absorbing in all that does. Are you able to allow the breath to really absorb? Are you able to allow the body to receive? Take another full breath in and out. Those of you who would like to just drop onto the left hip, you can join, come to seated. Otherwise, you can walk the hands in and come back to downward facing dog for one last time, just to stretch out a little bit. Move the legs around if you'd like again. And then we'll all meet seated. So get there however you'd like. Just find what's comfortable. Close the eyes for a moment. Breathe here. And then blink open the eyes, or keep them closed if you prefer. Extend the legs straight out in front of you. Shake the legs out a bit. Place both feet flat onto the mat, and then open them out. Open the knees out to either side of the room, feet to touch. For Baddha Konasana, take hold of the ankles, the tops of the feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. Keep lengthening your forehead beyond your toes, and then we come on down, and we breathe here. Bring your chin to your throat. Soften. And just allow. Allow for ease. Permission to just let go. Now, if you feel too much pulling in the lower back, you will feel a stretch in the lower back most likely. But if it's too much, you can come up a little higher. I like to have my forearms on the outside of my shins and feet, but you may find having your arms lifted is better with the hands on the floor in front of your feet, or holding on to the feet with the arms resting on the shins is another way you can do it. Play around with it and figure out what feels best for you. One more big breath here. And then walk the hands in towards your body. Let's bring the feet toward one another, the knees toward one another, feet flat on the mat. And then roll it down nice and slow. You can hold behind the legs if you'd like, one vertebra at a time. Once on your back, hug the knees in towards your chest. Rock it side to side. Big circles in one direction. Big circles in the other. Place both feet flat on the mat. Feet as wide as the mat. You can scoot your hips a tiny bit over to the right and let your knees fall to the left. If it's too much sensation, you can scoot the right knee a little closer to the left. So it goes into the hip a little bit. So it is a twist, but it does also get into the hip. Your arms can just be resting at your sides. Back to center. Scoot the hips back center and then over a slight bit to the left. And the knees fall to the right. Come on back to center. Even out the hips if you've moved them. Final time, squeeze in the knees. And you can rock if you'd like. You can circle if you'd like. And then find your Shavasana. Extend one leg, then the other, lying flat on your back if that's comfortable. If you do happen to have a blanket, you can, or a pillow or a towel, roll it up, place it underneath your knees. If you happen to have yoga blocks, you can place one each underneath the thigh. And if you don't have any of those props, you can place your feet on the mat as wide as the mat and let your knees dip in toward one another so they're resting on each other. That takes any of the strain away from you having to hold your legs up. You can relax into it, and it actually creates a little space in the lower back. So that might feel better for some of you. And then we allow for this action. So let's move the prana. Well, let's be aware of the prana vayus moving through us. So as you are softening here, letting your body completely surrender, can you allow for the pranas to do their work? The inward action of prana, the circulation of vyana, the digestive aspects of samana, and then the releasing quality of apana, letting go of what does not serve us, while udana takes all of the benefits, all of the good stuff, and lets it rise to our consciousness. It moves right through us. So I'd like you to stay with that for a few moments here, just noticing the space between the inhale and the exhale, and knowing that that space is where all of this beauty is taking place, all of this change, all of this cleansing. And it happens all the time. All you need to do is allow it. That's the hardest part sometimes, allowing it. We get caught up in having to do. Don't do anything. Just allow it. Now take in a full, deep breath. And notice if anything feels different within you. It's okay if it doesn't. Just notice if there's more space, maybe, softening. Maybe it feels like a cleansing occurred. Maybe you just feel a little more relaxed and at peace. And that's a beautiful thing. Gently invite some movements into the body as you're ready. So take your time. Just wiggle fingers and toes a little bit. And hug the knees in towards your chest. And roll onto your right side when ready. Settle in for a moment. And resist the temptation to open the eyes and bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Once seated, draw the palms to touch, thumbs rest by heart center, and bow the chin toward the throat. I thank you so, so much for your hard work, your dedication, and for sharing your practice with me. It was truly my honor to teach you. Namaste.